We're going to be spotting handstands, handstand forward rolls, and maybe some other stuff. We're going to start with the handstand. This is the exact same spot that you would do on beam. You've already seen that video. So you're going to start with contact on their hips. They're going to lean forward, and you're going to help them lift their hips into the handstand and then come down. If you want to help them balance in that handstand longer, you're going to shift from their hips up to their legs. It's a little bit easier. Their leg won't flop around. Then hold there, and then you can help them step out by taking their dominant leg and kind of pushing it down for them. Usually they don't get the idea of stepping out of those. Next thing we're going to do is a handstand forward roll, and this is spotted almost identical to that. You're going to support them on the way up, shift to their legs, and then you're going to hold them as they bend their arms, tell them to tuck their chin with their belly button, and let them roll like that. Just make sure that they have their chin tucked down and you lower them slowly so they don't face plant on the floor. Moving on to backwards rolls. These are a little bit, they're slightly more difficult to spot only because you can't start holding them in the middle of it. So what you're going to have to do is have them sit down on the end of a mat. That's the easiest place to spot it. Have them flip their hands like this. They're going to start to roll back, and you have to wait until their hips are up in the air and their legs are coming over. And then you're going to reach for their hips and help to pull them over. The faster they can roll into it, the easier it's going to be for them. So that's the most common correction I give them these. Just say go faster so you don't get stuck in their head. And then I'll kind of pull them a little bit faster to get them the idea of that. She did all the work, but that's how that works. We're working on cartwheels now. Before we actually spot these, you have to figure out what side is the kid's dominant side, their dominant leg. Usually the easiest way for me to figure that out is to have them put their hands down and just hop their feet back and forth over something, just doing that back and forth motion. Usually they're going to tell you that one side is easier than the other. For Coach Julie, she's done gymnastics before, so both of these are easy for her. But if she was a 5-year-old kid, she would probably tell me that her right side going over that way is easiest for her, which means that she's a righty. So if I were spotting this, it's the exact same way that we spotted on beam. You're going to put the hands, or you're going to stand on the same side as their dominant leg, open hand like this, and then you're going to help carry them over throughout the cartwheel. You're going to reach, catch your hip, carry her over, and set her down. A lot of times they're not actually going to want to kick, so you're going to have to do all the work, lift them and set them down, but that is your job as well. So we're going to be working on a couple different bridging skills now. We have Coach Tatum helping us out. She felt a little bit more up to the bridges than Coach Julie. The first thing that we're going to do is just a regular bridge. So the student is going to lay on the floor. This way just a little bit. If they don't know what to do, what you're going to tell them to do is flip their hands, their elbows point straight up, and it's a good habit to get their fingertips under their shoulders, and they're going to bend their knees like that. Before we actually do the bridge, one thing that I see a lot of coaches do is they try to grab from the hips in a bridge. That's the general rule spotting most things. In a bridge, you really want to be helping their shoulders though. So you're going to lift them a little bit and then start pushing their shoulders in it. So she's going to start to bridge up. I'm going to go under her back and then try to push in this direction to get as much stretch through her shoulder as possible. And then when she comes down, I'm going to tell her to look for her belly button or look for something in that direction so they don't come down on the top of their head. All right, we're going to move on from regular bridges to a bridge kickover, and this is where that shoulder stretch is really important. So you're going to help the kid into a bridge if they need it. If they don't, let them bridge up on their own so they're building some strength. Then your hand is going to help their shoulders push in this direction. She's going to kick up her dominant leg. If they need help, you can push them there. And then once they're up, go for their other leg, lift them through the handstand, and have them go over. As a side note, for the bridge kickover, when they are passing through that handstand shape, it's a good idea to actually help carry them through all the way into their standing lunge. Because pretty often they will be upside down and just their arms will give out. So I'm going to show that one more time where I actually do the full spot. This is for kids who are in like preschool who don't have a great handstand either. So they would bridge up, they're going to kick, and I help hold her as she comes over, and then if I need to, I'll even like transition to her arm to help her stand up. Next exercise that we're going to do is a handstand to bridge. You would spot this the same way you would for a regular handstand at the start of it if they need help getting into that shape. So I would go to their hips, help them come up. The next step is to transition to their shoulders to help that arch go through there, and then help their legs on the way down. If you're not pushing their shoulders in that direction to open shoulders, they're gonna end up just flopping onto their back and never making that bridge.